This episode of Steve's Outdoor Adventures is sponsored by the Farwide app, outdoor intelligence in the palm of your hand. This week, I'm headed back to a place that we have hunted a few times before. A private ranch enrolled in Utah's CWMU program. And for those of you who have followed our show for the last several years, you've probably seen us hunt elk in Utah a lot. And my last personal hunt on this particular property was about 10 years ago. In early October, after all of our clients were done, I hunted in the aspens while they were bright yellow and the sound of bugling bulls was echoing in every drainage. We called in a lot of bulls, and on the last evening of my hunt, it all came together when we keyed in on the bugles and ambushed a herd of elk that was feeding into an open meadow. Beautiful bull, he was a worthy adversary, and just an awesome animal to hunt up here in the high country of Utah. I couldn't have asked for a better hunt or an even better adventure. Then, 6 years later, Travis Price made his first visit to the ranch. Wanting to get firsthand experience of the operations here and experience the early October action, hunting in the yellow aspen forest and hearing the bulls bugle in the timber, Travis hunted hard, and after passing on a smaller bull, he ended up in the exact same spot that I had and killed his own bull, ambushing a herd of elk in the same meadow.
Down.
Dude, good shooting.
Nice job.
That's awesome. Good shooting, dude.
And now I find myself back on the ranch. 10 years since my last visit to this aspen-covered paradise and ready to go elk hunting. But this time, I have a new rifle. I'm carrying the Bergara Premier Series Highlander, chambered in 300 PRC and topped with the Burris 4-20 Veracity rifle scope with a custom turret that has been cut specifically to the ballistics of my custom, hand-loaded Pendleton ammunition. The 220 grain bullets travel out the muzzle at 2,840 feet per second and generate nearly 4,000 foot-pounds of energy. The high ballistic coefficient allows this to be a long-range shooting bullet that will deliver terminal performance on an animal anywhere from 50 yards away to over 1,000 yards away. And this gun is outfitted with the new GPM Adventure Hunter 338 caliber suppressor. This simplistic two-piece design of an aluminum monocore with a titanium sleeve that is a compact 6.5 inches long and 10-ounce weight makes this the ideal suppressor for the ultimate Western big game hunting rifle. And that's why I'm carrying it today. We're gonna hit the woods and hunt the aspens in search of a big Utah bull. This week's Checking Zero was sponsored by the Adventure Armory. Rifle, scope, and ammo packages for hunters. We're just getting here to the ranch in Utah where we're gonna hunt this week, and all the clients are pretty much done. There's a couple of guys left to tag out tonight on the last night of their stays. The camp's up here in a box canyon. We're almost there. And the first thing I've noticed is it's been hot and dry. I mean, this is dusty, miserable, nasty conditions for the last 2 weeks. I saw on the forecast that was possible, and rain could be a real game changer for this week's hunt. Seriously, it's gonna cool down. We're gonna get some moisture. And God willing, it'll get these elk fired up. This segment of Steve's Outdoor Adventures has been sponsored by Pendleton Ammunition, loading bullets, one round at a time. This segment of Steve's Outdoor Adventures has been sponsored by Bergara Rifles, a passion for precision, every barrel, every rifle. Once we arrived in camp, we didn't waste any time. I put on my boots, grabbed my rifle and pack, and loaded up in the side-by-side and headed out for an evening hunt. Our guide this week is Trent Christensen, a young, up-and-coming guide in his second year on the ranch. His energy was refreshing, and he was eager to hit the woods. The storm hit just as we got up the mountain. The clouds socked in the valley as we started to glass, so we moved into the aspens and began our hunt. I like to tag team call for elk, and Trent was more than game. Sounding like multiple elk, we moved through the aspen stands, cow calling and bugling, and we did multiple calling sequences at several locations. Under the incredible yellow canopy of the aspen forest, we found fresh elk sign and hunted until darkness forced us from the mountain.
It started to get dark. Not a peep tonight, not a peep. But the storm kind of blew through. It was raining real hard for a while. It started to clear out a little bit. Winds laid down. I was hoping we'd hear something before dark, but no bugles. We're gonna slip out of here nice and quiet. Hopefully we'll be back in the morning. We'll be able to hear some bulls bugling down in the aspen trees. Spectacular landscape, no doubt about it. Spectacular.
We got in here yesterday afternoon, got a nice evening hunt in, but you could see the weather coming. We got hit with some rain at different times, and we got up this morning and all I could hear was rain pounding the roof of the cabin. It's just boring outside right now. It sounds like the winds are blowing through pretty high as well. Not ideal hunting conditions, but came in to have some breakfast. We're gonna let the sun come up and kind of play the day by ear. High winds and lots of rain's not ideal. We might be sitting out a good portion of today, but like I said, we'll wait till the sun comes up and make a call then.
We had a bull kind of do a half-hearted bugle up here on the right. Snap up here on the left. There's elk around. We're gonna try and call one down into this little valley. Meadow, sagebrush meadow in front of us. If we're not successful here, we'll move over and hit the next drop. There's a bull up here. Drove up here on top. We're probably somewhere around 8,300 feet in elevation. We're glassing all these sagebrush flats and ridges that have like aspen bedding areas next to them. Just trying to catch some elk coming out tonight before dark. Maybe get a plan for the morning. I haven't seen anything yet.
This segment of Steve's Outdoor Adventures has been sponsored by Burris Optics. Find what matters. This segment was sponsored by Marathon Seat Covers and Covercraft, the official vehicle protection sponsor of the Bass Pro Tour.
It's our second morning here in camp, and it's clear and cold out there. Temperatures dropped overnight. I think we got a fighting chance of getting some elk rolling this morning. Yesterday was rainy and miserable, and the elk were just lockjawed. They didn't want to come out of the timber. Hopefully, this morning we're going to get some action. But we're getting ready to take off, just get a bite to eat, and hit the road.
The second morning of our hunt, the weather had improved. The epic sunrise and cooler temperatures gave me hope that this would be the day that the elk cut loose.
All right. Air's perfect this morning, still and quiet. You hear everything. Got awesome sunrise coming up. We're gonna go up through this stand of aspens up on the top. There's some crossings up there Trent wants to watch. Hopefully we'll hear some bugle action. What a stunning morning. We just gave prettier than this. Aspens in October, orange sunrises. Sometime late last night or early this morning, I heard an elk got in right here. There's a bunch of tracks in the mud, fresh. We got a bull track going this way here, a bunch of cows and calves all over and up in this. Their tracks are going down this direction. We're gonna work it that way, see if we can't catch up to them. It's the best sign we've seen yet.
Trent and I worked the entire area, tag team calling, still hunting, and doing everything we could to locate some elk. We found some fresh sign that told us that the elk were there, but the elk were nowhere to be found. And despite our efforts and all of our calling, we didn't hear a single bugle or even see a single elk. So we headed in for lunch and worked on a plan for the evening hunt.
We just got up here this evening. We're gonna sit on a spot where we're watching for a long range shot. So I switched back to the 300 PRC. It's gonna be anywhere from 400 to 700 yards across this, and I gotta have something that'll shoot flat and hit with authority. And that's the 300 PRC in a nutshell. So since Trent's ready, we're gonna make our way around the top of this and get set up where we've got a vantage point. Get the rifle set up and wait for these elk to feed across this mountainside. Hopefully we'll see some elk action. It's been pretty slow. This is one of those spots where you're gonna see a bull or you'll see nothing.
This had been the driest year that we had ever experienced on this particular ranch. All across the West there were drought conditions, but it was especially bad here. The ponds were dried up, the grass was dry, there wasn't a lot of feed for the animals, and this means that the elk were scattered and in smaller groups. We're gonna have to work harder to find a bull. On this particular hunt, I had only allowed myself a couple of days, and unfortunately, after the upcoming evening hunt, I was gonna have to hit the road for Wyoming. That meant that this was my last hunt. This evening hunt had to count. So we put our heads together, came up with a plan, and we decided to throw a Hail Mary. This segment of Steve's Outdoor Adventures is sponsored by the Far Wide app. Outdoor intelligence in the palm of your hand. This segment is sponsored by Adventure Armory. Rifle, scope, and ammunition packages shipped, ready to shoot. If you'd like to book this week's adventure for yourself, give our office a call. We will gladly take your calls, answer your questions, and help you book the hunting or fishing adventure of a lifetime. It's the last night of my hunt. The elk hunting has been terrible. We haven't heard an elk, we haven't seen an elk, and the conditions are awful. And this is my last hunt before I have to hit the road for Wyoming. And for my last hunt, we've decided to go sit on a place that we call Diablo. This is an all or nothing gamble. Throw your chips on the table and roll the dice. And we are betting it all on one spot.
He's got set up here. That mountain is our target. There's elk that bed on the far side in the pines. And they come across this face to go into a feeding area. It's about anywhere from 4 to 650, depending on where the elk come out of the other side and come over that ridge. Set up, I got a good spot with the rest, cleared away all the debris, got my parallax set. Now I just need a yardage on a bull. This isn't a spot where we're gonna see a whole herd come across typically. This will be just 1 or 2 bulls. But when they come across, they're generally bigger bulls. This is a spot where they like to hang out. We haven't seen much elk action yet. I'm hoping it picks up tonight. We're all set up. And sometime in the next 3 hours, it should go down.
3 hours is an eternity. We glassed and waited and sat there silently, just waiting for some elk to feed across the face of that mountain. And I will be the first to tell you that I had added salt and ketchup to my elk tag. I was ready to eat that tag. And with less than 15 minutes before pure darkness, we heard a faint squeal of a bugle way up in the saddle above us. Which put us on the move, and fast. Trent and I closed the distance. And when we needed to get a location on the bull, I mimicked his bugle with my diaphragm call, and he answered back. His only hope was that darkness would beat us to him. Tick-tock, time's running out. My window is closing, and then the bull screwed up again and stepped out into a small opening in the cedars. He's a big 6x6 herd bull. 499 yards. I spun the turret to 500 yards and set my parallax focus to get a perfect sight picture and put the crosshairs behind his shoulder. Aim small, miss small.
Yeah, your 3 is coming out right now. He's broadside to the right of him.
Only thing to do now, send it.
Call it.
Yep.
Smoked him.
Coming down. If you can get another one in, then do it.
That's 2 hard hits, man.
He's a rock, yep. I haven't seen him come out. Oh, he's going. He's down.
Sometimes these hunts literally happen in seconds.
Steve.
Big 6, boys.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great back splits.
Hell, that was a 6 in the scope.
Well done.
This hunt's proof that no matter how bad a hunt's going, no matter how bad the conditions are, or how slow the elk hunting or deer hunting might be, stick it out. If you've got a hunt, you have a scheduled set of days to be there, hunt until the last minute of the last day and make the most of the hunt, because you never know what's going to happen. right before the sun goes down on your hunt. You know, to get a bull like this in the final seconds, just it makes my entire October. You know, I'm already having an incredible fall season, but for this hunt to come together the way it did just reminds me of that lesson, is that don't quit early. We have way too many people that get on a hunt, they get 2 or 3 days in, it's a little bit of tough hunting, they figure, well, I'll just go home. If you go home, you won't get one of these. We're gonna eat on this bull for the next year because elk season only comes around once. You know, you gotta wait 9, 10 months before you get the next whack at them. So, you know, it beats buying beef at the store, that's for sure. But wild game meat, packed out, take to the butcher, fill the freezer. How could I have ever known that that hunt was gonna play out like that with just seconds left in the day? The time was running out on my hunt. My mind was already on Wyoming. I had already planned on eating my tag, and then it all came together because I hunted until the last minute of the last day of my hunt. I didn't quit early. I stayed in the field and I never lost hope. You know, that's a ranch that our clients have been hunting for over a decade. It's been one of our most reliable elk producers, and while this past season was a rough one, new food plots and water enhancements are gonna help us mitigate if we have another drought season. We're gonna put some things in our control to make sure that we have better elk hunting conditions when our clients get to the ranch. In fact, if you'd like to book an elk hunt for this property or any of our other Western big game hunting or fishing adventures, give our office a call. We're always available to take your calls, answer your questions, and we want to help you book the hunting or fishing adventure of a lifetime. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this week's show, but please remember to join us again next week when we bring you another exciting episode of Steve's Outdoor Adventures. If you enjoyed this episode, please click like and subscribe to see more of Steve's Outdoor Adventures right here on YouTube.